Good evening. My name is Eric Labath, and the purpose of this speech is to persuade you to push for change and question the education that you're signing yourself up for and potentially your children. The cost of a public four-year college is 357% greater than it was 30 years ago. 357%. Outstanding student debt is at $1.2 trillion in the United States. $8 billion of that is in default. Student debt is immune to bankruptcy. That means you can go into foreclosure on your house. You can chalk everything up to Chapter 7 or whichever chapter. However, your student debt will be with you regardless of anything that you do. 9% of pre-med students do not have a job after they graduate from school. What are we supposed to tell the other 91% of them? Hey, you picked the wrong career. JP Morgan Chase, which is one of the largest banks in the world, no longer issues student loans. What can we get from this? It all amounts to a financial crisis, much like the one that we saw in 2008 and much like the one that we saw in the late 90s with the tech bubble. How did we get here? Higher education has been around since the 11th century. In 1960, 8% of people had degrees. Work was still accomplished. Social skills were still gained. Unities were still formed. Bonds. Business still went on. Horizons were still broadened. The arts were still explored. $250,000 bachelor's degree is what we're seeing now. This year alone, Columbia University of New York is now charging $61,000 a year for a year of school. How do we get here? What happened? The premium on education has gone way up, and the return on investment hasn't been returned. Higher education raises the bar for whoever you are, no matter what walk of life you have. A higher education can open doors for you, can get you that job that you want, can move you into the social circle that you need to get into. I will never dispute the fact that higher education is a gateway to a better life. However, I don't believe that the cost justifies the end result. 8% of college graduates are unemployed currently. That's as of this year, 2013. 18% of those graduates with a bachelor's degree are underemployed. What does that mean? It means that they're working jobs that can't pay their own bills, i.e. their student debt. This is part of that $8 billion of debt that is in default. So what do I suggest? How can we fix this? Well, I think that what you can do as a college student is a couple of different things. I think that we need to develop a better K through 12 that will include well-rounded classes brought down from the undergrad, such as our humanities, such as our English classes, such as our Shakespeare, and not that these classes don't hold value. I'm saying that they do hold value, but that we need to bring them down to our elementary school students, and we need to make sure that they're getting the education that they need prior to going on for a bachelor's degree, prior to joining the workforce. What else do we need to do? I think we need to rebuild the vocational system. I do mean rebuild. Like I said earlier, in 1960, 8% of people had degrees. What was everybody else doing? What was the other 92% doing? Well, they were going to a lot of vocational schools. We had a lot of trade schools, and a lot of men and women of my generation still remember when we had tech school and when it was very prevalent. Why aren't we exploring those? Why aren't we building those up? We have, just because the trades may have taking a hit doesn't mean that we should just abandon the idea, throw the baby out with the bathwater. What we need to do is reinvest money into those and rebuild the vocational system, bring these IT jobs back down into a manageable time frame with a manageable costs. Have these vocational programs, schools, start in high school, or at the very least start at a high school level, so that returning students can have all the benefit of going back to school at a lower cost, and it's not such a mountain to climb. Develop a skill set applicable to the needs of the market. What do I mean by that? I mean, find out what the market needs, be it IT, engineering. Obviously, engineering isn't something that you can learn within the amount of time that I'm talking, but IT, engineering, to some degree, get these guys started off. If we bring the level of education up at the lower levels, the entire economy improves because of that. And then finally, or moreover, finish with a certification that is acknowledged by the marketplace, that our employers, that these companies are going to acknowledge, i.e., for example, your PMP, the Project Management Professional, or MCP, the Microsoft Certification Program. These are two programs currently that we have that you can get into, that you can graduate from, that is acknowledged by our marketplace, that employers will pay for. And I'm saying that we can bring these down. Complete them in 1.5 to 2 years. This is key. This is something that I think we can do, and I think we should, and then have a lower cost. In conclusion, current system is broken. Realignment of education is needed. Charles Murray said, "We all start out as apprentices. After we learn our trade, we become journeymen, and some of us who get really good at it become master craftsmen. That is true of a history professor, or a lawyer, or a physician, as it is of a carpenter, or a plumber, or an electrician. The kinds of changes that we need to make to our educational system, sweeping fundamental reforms, getting rid of the BA, moving to certification, has as its ultimate goal, in my view, something that is very important for America and is increasingly stratified by class. And that is that it promotes recognition among us that we are all engaged in the same process. We are not divided into professionals and service workers or blue-collar workers. We all start as apprentices. We become journeymen, and we all strive to become master craftsmen." Thank you.